America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. We got a great show for you tonight, everyone. Please remember to smash the like and follow button. Leave a comment if you have any questions. We usually do daily topics where we talk about what's going on daily in politics. There's not a ton going on today specifically, so what I am going to do is I'm going to talk about young men and the way young men have been treated in this country and what it's leading to. It will be the main topic of the discussion tonight. We'll talk about feminism, the male loneliness epidemic. We'll talk about the rise in young conservative men. We will talk about the rebellion that's starting with these men, the war on masculinity that started it all. We'll do a deep dive and analysis into all these things. We will get to the bottom of why men, specifically young white men in this country, are feeling disaffected, why they feel left out by corporations and the media and all these things. It's very interesting what's happening. This is a huge problem in our nation and a problem that the media loves to ignore. So again, everyone, please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions. We are going to get right into the show today, though, everybody. We're going to talk about where this all starts. Where it all starts is in school, really. The main problem for developing young men, where it starts is in the school. Homeschool is on the rise because of this, and I'm very happy because of that. But with the kids who go to public school and things like this, they deal with a lot of things that don't allow them to act like men, to create men. It really just creates subservient, almost young women out of these men. Almost all the teachers in these schools are women, so there is an over-feminization in these schools. And beyond that, these kids, especially the men, they're not allowed to express male behavior. You know, if you're fidgeting, you have ADHD and you need to be medicated. If you are a leader, you're just seen as aggressive. They're essentially chemically neutering these young boys with medications, therapy, things like this, taking away what it is to be a man. Men, and not men, but boys, they need to roughhouse. They need to be able to get their energy out. They don't need to have the same female behavioral norms that they have in these schools, like obedience, silence. You know, if you're a leader and you're loud and you stand out, that's a bad thing. We need to be embracing these young men. We need to be telling these young men to aspire to be men. We don't need to be taking everything that makes them men and burying it. Right now, that's what we're doing. Like I said, we're over-medicating these children. It's a huge problem in this country. It's something I dealt with very personally as well. So this is a very personal thing to me. I'm going to dive into a very quick personal story. But when I was 7 years old, without ever seeing a doctor, without a doctor ever even examining me in person, I was medicated, heavily medicated, misdiagnosed with multiple things. And it completely altered my brain chemistry. It altered the way my mind worked. It altered the way my body would work, my hormones, etc. And then when I was 14 years old is when I started to wean off this medication after 7 years of being on countless medications and benzoids for things that I didn't even have because the school and the improper channels misdiagnosed me. And they chemically neutered men. They chemically neutered people like me. They made it harder for boys to become men. They took all the challenges that boys need to go through and they buried them. They make school this safe, inclusive place where there's really no struggle, where boys, they're not allowed to express their physical behavior. Again, I don't think boys should be fighting all the time, but boys do need to be able to roughhouse. 15 minutes on the turf outside after lunch is not enough. The structure we have in these classrooms is structured for females and structured for obedience and subservience. It's not structured for the way young male leader minds need to operate. We are actually creating slave minds out of these men. We're creating a feminized generation of men and generations of men who don't realize that it's happening to them until it's too late, until they remove themselves from these public school systems, possibly the college system as well, till they make it out into the real world and they realize that how they were taught in school to act and be is not how men actually act. It's not what women want, it's not how you should be as a father. It's not how you should be in the eyes of God. What it is a weaker, lesser version of yourself. It is not embracing manhood to its fullest extent. And I don't think we need to expect little boys to embrace manhood. They're little boys. We shouldn't expect that much of them. But what we should expect is that they're given the opportunity to become men. These boys have had that taken away from them at very young ages. We talked about it, but the overmedication, the increased amount of therapy in schools, the increased amount of silence these boys have to endure. These boys have to silence themselves. They can't joke around. They can't laugh with their friends. They can't be the loud kid in class without, being labeled as some sort of negative stereotype. These boys are young men. They will become young leaders, and the more they try and feminize these young men, the more they're going to push back against it. You don't want men to be anti-LGBTQ? Okay, then don't force it down their throats. You don't want men to push back against all these things? Then stop forcing it down their throats. Inclusivity is not as good as they make it seem, because what you're doing is you're actually creating a generation who does not like these things. You're creating a generation who doesn't like Israel. We talked about that in our show yesterday. But when Donald Trump is putting Israel over America, when he's saying that if you're in a fire or hurricane or a flood zone and your state or city doesn't support Israeli businesses, we're not going to give you FEMA dollars, so you're just going to die. He's creating a generation that just hates Israel. He's creating a generation of anti-Semites. And it's Israel and it's the media and it's the politicians' fault. They are, and the schools as well, but they are, and it's not just Israel specific, it goes to all the different things that I mentioned a second ago. But they are, when you push things on young boys, when you force them, if you force something onto a young man and say, this is what you're going to believe, this is what you have to believe, you better expect him to rebel, because that's male nature. That's what it is to be a man. It's not listening to everything you're told and accepting it as it is, but it's doing your own research, creating your own conclusion, testing your own theories and hypotheses, and then moving forward. That's what being a man actually is. So when you tell all these young men that they have to support this, or they have to be okay with this, or they have to do this, guess what? You're going to create a generation of pissed off young men who are going to rebel against you eventually. And that's what we're starting to see. We're starting to see this rise in young conservatism. We're starting to see a rise in the war on masculinity that they've tried to wage on us. They waged this massive war on masculinity with men. Masculinity became, it's not a crime legally, but it's a crime. It's toxic masculinity. You can't go to the gym, or you can't, be on the carnivore diet, or you can't watch MMA, or you can't do any of these things without being toxically masculine. You can't express to your girlfriend or your wife that you don't want her wearing something so scandalous. You can't, tell girls they're whores because they're on. I have no problem doing it, but all these things are toxically masculine, according to the media, according to feminists, according to not everyone's mother, but a lot of them. And these are problems. It's not toxically masculine to be a man. Toxic masculinity is a term they came up with to teach you not to be a man, to try and feminize you, to make you into a slave to the government, to make you a slave to the matrix. If you are a man, a true man, you wouldn't put up with the nonsensical bullshit that our government is constantly throwing at us. You would not tolerate it. Real men have always been the ones to stand up and revolt. Real men have always been the one to bring about change in the world. It's always strong, disaffected groups of young men, because they are the strongest ones in the country. It's not the 50-year-old billionaires who've been around forever. It is the 18 to 25-year-olds who are jacked up on testosterone and hormones and pissed the fuck off because everything they're doing, they're told they're bad for it. Like I said earlier, if you have strength, you get punished, but weakness is rewarded with men. It's a war on masculinity. It's a war on what it is to be a man. We all felt this too when we were growing up. I mean, we all dealt with it from our teachers, whether it was our mothers, our teachers, principals. Our schools are overwhelmed with, female employees, administrators, teachers, and it's very hard to actually explore what masculinity is, and it's very hard to show what masculinity is at those young ages when it's constantly being pushed down. They're constantly just like a overcrammed box shoving everything in there, and then when you explode you get punished for it. You're victimized and villainized for it. But why is it that men are villainized for being men? Men have more energy, men have testosterone. The way men's brains work are going to be different. You can't expect them to fit into the system that was created essentially for females in subservience, because that's not what real men are. Real men do not tolerate that. And the only reason men are tolerating it right now is two things. By law, it's required that everyone goes to school, and not every parent can afford to have, home education for their kids. They have to work, whatever it is. And then the second, it's I just lost my train of thought. I forgot. I'll remember the second thing in a second. But the war on masculinity it's really, it started a while ago. Obviously it started in schools, but it started with media as well. The people don't like to think that this is an attack on masculinity, but indirectly it was a massive attack on masculinity through the media and through TV and sitcoms and comedy shows and movies, etc. Every average dad in a show, especially your average white dad, is a fucking moron. Maybe they're funny, they're comedic relief, whatever it is. I'm not saying that their character is a bad character in the show. My only point is every single sitcom father, every single cartoon father, especially the white ones, are complete fucking jokes. Phil Dunphy is a clown. Great dad realistically, but he's a clown. You have Homer Simpson. You have Peter Griffin. You have, I can't think of his name, but from Everyone Loves Raymond. I also can't think of his name, but from King of Queens as well. You have all these different examples of how in the media they made the dad the joke of the household, who's constantly getting embarrassed and emasculated by the woman of the household. What the fuck is that about? How is that allowed? I understand how it's allowed. We shouldn't ban shit like that on TV, but how is it so mainstream and normal that the man of the household is seen as a joke? There was a point in time where the man of the household was a respectable position in this world. The men of the household led, and they didn't only lead their household, they led their children. They inspired their children. They inspired their wife. These are the things we need to get back. The attack on masculinity, the war on masculinity is very real. No matter how much they want to ignore it, no matter how much they want to tell you it's not real, no matter how much they want to tell you you're not actually a disaffected man, that you are just a complainer, that you're, just complaining at things that don't exist, that you're pulling strings that aren't there. It's not true. These things do exist. There is a male loneliness epidemic. This is starting with the way the schools are treating men. There is a war on masculinity. The male loneliness epidemic is on the rise. It is on the rise at massive rates, and it's due to a lot of reasons. A lot of it's due to feminism, which is what we'll talk about next. But a lot of it is just due to the fact that men feel disaffected and disenfranchised. They feel like, especially young white men, we got out of college, and because of DEI, 96% of all corporate and S&P 500 jobs were DEI jobs. They weren't, just your normal people who would have been hired. You have people who are being isolated on social media, whether it's for their views, because they work out, because of what they eat, whatever it is. People are being isolated for the dumbest things, and it's generally men. Men are also coming to realize that modern day feminism has taken a massive toll on the way women act towards men. Women almost don't know how to act towards men. Women were told to essentially hate men through feminism, and whether they think they were told this or not, when you're told to hate masculinity, when all masculinity becomes toxic, that's just hating men. It's just another way of saying it. Masculinity is men. Men are masculine. Men are masculinity. And to say that you have to hate masculinity because it's toxic, it's essentially saying you have to hate men. It's collapsing the family unit. We talked about yesterday the steep decline and 30-year-olds who are married and have houses, a lot of this is due to the fact that, if you're a young man, why would you want to go out and be with a young modern day woman? They offer you next to nothing. They don't add a lot to your life. Most of them are seen as either a legal or financial drain on their life or a possible stain on their life. The woman you pick to marry is the biggest reflection of you. The woman you pick to marry will make or break your entire life, and most people don't realize that. And yes, you can get married and divorce young and recover eventually, but my point is, a good wife will stand in your corner through everything. Victoria Gotti stood next to John Gotti through 3 convictions of 10 years, the death of their son, and multiple convictions, and a life sentence where he ended up dying of cancer, stayed loyal to him through the whole thing. And I'm not going to glorify the mob wife aesthetic, but that's a good woman, a woman who will build up a man, not a woman who will break a man down. And then you can go to the opposite example of the women who literally gold dig. They date these men to divorce them for their money. They drain everything they have. There was that story of the person in California who, or actually, maybe it was Toronto, I don't know, but the mom wanted to have a sex change for the 4-year-old son, and the dad wouldn't allow it. The mom divorced the dad, and the dad was legally required through child support to pay for a 4-year-old's fucking chemical castration. Absolutely grotesque and disgusting. And the dad didn't do it. He went to jail. He's currently, I'm pretty sure, in jail for this right now. I mean, I pray for this man. He is a hero for this. He tried to do what he could to save that child's soul, because the mom still went through with the surgery for the child and the chemical castration for this child, but the dad did everything in his power to say that he didn't do it. And one day that child will realize the truth, because 4-year-olds are not fucking trans. That's not how shit works. 4-year-olds are delusional. 4-year-olds don't even really know what boys and girls are that much, besides that boys like trucks and girls like fucking dolls. Oh my lord, it is absurd, the delusion that the place we've gotten to in this country is just so sad. I think feminism is a big problem in that. I did a long rant about that yesterday, about how feminism has really ruined young women, their perceptions of men, how it's also ruined how, beyond their perceptions of men, it's also just how they act towards men. Women go for, I think it's 2% of all men, and they think that's a realistic, women are so fucking delusional now that they all, 4s think they're 10s. Fat fucks, girls who are 300 pounds think they're beautiful. Your soul might be, but you're not, honey. Go hit the fucking treadmill and then we'll see. You cannot be fat as fuck and beautiful. I'm going to tell you that right now. It is just not possible. We have women who are literally fatter than shit. Women who look like Saturn's rings, who are, swiping left on guys on Tinder that would be a fucking score for them. That would be the cream of the crop for these women normally in any other generation where we're not so fucked up with the way, social media and dating apps really are the reason that part of it took place. Women got an insane amount of access to just the top, best 1% looking men. And they abuse that. They ignore the 99% of all other men, the men who would actually make good fathers, make good husbands, the masculine men, the men who want to lay down the line with women. These guys who are the 1% of men who are dating and sleeping with the majority of these women on social media and through dating apps. They're not generally the husbands and fathers that you're looking for. They're generally retards and meatheads. They're generally just fuckboys, as you'd like to call them. I mean, they're not the, like I said, they're not the father you're looking for. You should be looking, when you pick a spouse, for the best mother for your children or the best father for your children. That should be just as important as, if not more important than almost any other metric. Definitely more important than beauty and looks and superficial bullshit like that. And I'm not saying it's all superficial. Everyone has attraction and things. People don't want to marry people they're not attracted to at all because they would make a good mother. I understand that completely. But my point is people's intentions are very incorrect when it comes to dating, specifically the young women. All the young women think they're hot shit because women are told that. The fattest girls are told that they're beautiful. And we got to stop doing that. You could say it's mean, you could say it's hurtful, you could say I'm trying to bully these girls, but I'm not. What I'm trying to do is build, they have too much confidence. I'm trying to break the confidence down a little bit and bring it back to reality. They need to get back to reality of realizing, okay, like, I'm a fucking 3 who weighs 380 pounds. I'm not going to be able to go fuck a bodybuilder if I don't go hit the treadmill. I'm not going to be able to go... I'm not even going to be able to have past kids through me if I don't hit the treadmill. These women don't realize that. And these women don't also realize that they have a clock, a biological clock. Most women ignore that. And they ignore it because they are not... Women used to be hammered about this. Back in the day, your mother used to be like, you're 20. Like, let's fucking go. Let's get babies going. You really only have 15 years left and like 10 years really left to start like pumping these bitches out before it's going to get difficult. Like, women, when they reach 30, there's a lot less chance of them having kids than when they were before 30. Your most fertile is like 16 to 24, I think, as a woman. And that's when you should be getting married, ideally, is like that 21 to 24 range. But that is not really possible right now because of the way women act. I mean, women want to go through this like huge slut phase in college. They want to fuck the entire school. And then after college, they want to try and settle down with a guy who's willing to accept the fact that they sucked every dick and fucking, like, I don't know, on frat row. It's just disgusting. It's immoral. It's grotesque. It's nothing that men want. Men don't want that. Men don't want, they have the saying for a reason that a key that can unlock every door is a master key, but a lock that can be unlocked by any key is just a shitty lock. If a woman can be cracked by any key, if it's that easy to fuck a girl, how good is she of a wife? Men don't want to date a woman who is very easy. Like, that's just common. Not like, why would you want, like, men like to accomplish tasks. When women actually withhold from sex, it inspires men to do more. I think women should be withholding sex from men. I don't think women should be just giving up sex to men. I don't think the sexual revolution of women was positive for women. I actually think it was very destructive to young men and to young women. It's destructive to young women because, like I talked about, they're not getting in these relationships earlier. They're just getting hammered by dick from fucking 16 to 25, and then they want to go settle down with some loser who's okay with that. But that's just I don't know, it's not a realistic goal for these women. They're creating, monstrosities out of themselves. They're creating a generation of disgusting women who is almost untouchable. I wouldn't touch these women with your dick, let alone mine. Like, why would I want to go near a woman who has slept with the entire football team? Why would I want to go near a woman who was a frat whore? Why would I want to go near a woman who sucked a guy's dick because he bought her a rum and coke? Like, is that your wife? Is that your wife one day, really? The girl who's fucking blowing guys in the bathroom at your college? That's going to be your future wife one day? Are you fucking kidding me? Do better, guys. As men, we need to do better by not giving these whores attention. And women, you need to do better because you should have been told early on that you do have a biological clock. Men aren't going to want you if you have a body count and a fucking list of that in your notes app on your phone. I remember Alex Cooper, that dumb slut who does Call Her Daddy. Alex Cooper, that dumb slut who does Call Her Daddy. I just want to say it twice, just in case someone wants to clip that, because I hate that bitch. But she's married, and she had a clip on her podcast recently, within the last month, where it was like, I remember every single guy who's had their dick inside me, I have their name and their ranking in my phone. A married woman said that. See, I'm not for beating your wife, but one time, if my wife said that, if my wife publicly on camera to millions, privately, but millions of people, boom, just once, just once, I'm no better than you guys. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't, but I think I would. Like, really? She remembers every dick that was inside her? Your wife is saying to millions of people that she remembers every dick that was inside her. It's the reason that women are whores. Like, this shit like Call Her Daddy. Like, we have podcasts teaching women how to suck cock. That should be illegal. Like, that should be illegal. That should be penalized by the law. That is fucking disgusting. It is grotesque. Like, what these girls did and the brand they started is so immoral. It needs to be removed from society. young men just need to do a lot better about this. If young men are able to do better about picking the women they choose to give attention to, I don't even like I'm not even talking about like dating and sleeping with, because it comes before all that. You won't even get to that point if you're just pickier about who you even give the attention to in the first place. Do not give attention to a woman that you couldn't see being a mother. Do not give attention to a woman that would sleep with you within the first 3 dates. Do not give attention to any woman who does not have moral values derived from some form of religion. Do not give attention to any woman who's had an abortion. Don't give attention to women who are on birth control. Don't give attention to the women who are doing these destructive things to society. They also don't want to act like birth control is a problem. Birth control is a massive problem. It's not only fucking up all these women's hormones, but it's leading to what I was talking about earlier with the male loneliness epidemic. It changes the way that women's attractiveness in their mind works. What it does is it tricks your brain into thinking you're pregnant. It tricks your hormones, changes your hormones and your body. It changes the way you smell things. It changes everything. And a lot of women, the overwhelming majority of women, when they get off birth control, experience two massive problems. One problem is they're not able to get pregnant as easily because of all the hormones and all the shitty things they've been putting in their body for years. The second thing that women experience when they come off this is they realize that they're not attracted to the men they've been dating for years. Women tend to come off birth control when their relationship gets serious enough that they would be willing to risk pregnancy, that they would be willing to possibly get inseminated through sex. Women, when they're getting off these birth control pills, are realizing that the smell, the pheromones of their man, the way they look at him, the way he acts, it's not actually what they wanted, that it is so far removed from who they actually are, because when they were on that pill, they were a different person. And every guy who's dated a girl on birth control knows this. They know that girls are different on it. They know that girls, that the way their hormones work, they're absolutely fucking wild cards on it. If you've ever dated a girl who's on birth control who also drinks a little bit, you understand what I'm talking about very much. You understand that women are not meant to take that shit. Women are not meant to pump hormones in their body that are meant to trick themselves into being pregnant. We are humans. We are primitive beings. We have, for thousands of years, acted a certain way only to change that. And as we've changed it, everything has started going downhill in our society by every metric. Depression, suicides, even general attractiveness. When you look at people in older generations, they're literally more attractive than the people today. And it's because of all the bullshit we're feeding into our bodies. All the pills, are giving young men, they are giving young women, the birth control, the fucked up plastics and things in our food, the makeup they're putting on these women's skin. I mean, makeup is essentially catfishing as well. It's like the same thing as when a guy wears like 5-inch insoles in his shoes to give himself height. It's just ridiculous. It's catfishing. It's delusional. And women, you look more beautiful without makeup. Your natural beauty is what makes you great. Men actually hate women who wear a lot of makeup. Newsflash to a lot of you bitches. Men hate when women wear a ton of makeup. I mean, it is just, men say it all the time. Women don't want to listen. But no, it's for me. It's for me. When I dress up like a slut and fucking rape my face in makeup and go to the bars and act like a whore, it's for me. It's not for the guys. Like, stop trying to poison yourself with attention. It's just sad what these women do. Feminism has really just poisoned the young woman mind. It has led to the decline of the family unit. It's led to the decline in society. When you lose the nuclear family, you lose society. When you lose that bond that holds families together, that glue, when no-fault divorce becomes legal, when women are acting the way they are and men are disaffected and told they're not allowed to act like men, you start to see this collapse in American society. And men get blamed for the fallout. We're told we're shitty. We're told we're racist, misogynistic. But no, we're just being men. We are just being the men that we were created to be in the eyes of God. Men are men and need to act like men again. The disaffected sons of America they're starting to wake up, and it's going to become a problem for the government, a problem for a lot of these hyper feminists as well. The women who don't want to act like women are going to be in for a rude awakening when they realize that all the disaffected sons of America, Yes, they are waking up. They are starting a major revolution. We're seeing a major wave of young men go to the not just, Republican side. They're going to the conservative movement, which is way more far to the right. We're seeing a rise in Christianity among these young men. We're seeing a rise in the people who despise foreign lobbyists, specifically the Israel lobby. We're even seeing a rise in young men who don't want to have the LGBTQ agenda shoved into their lives, their schools, their homes, their teachings, their friend groups. We're teaching young men right now, the world is teaching young men that they are the problem, that white men in this country are the problem. As a young white man in this country, I was told that my ancestors were slave owners. My ancestors came over about 50 years after slavery was banned in the United States. About 50 years after slavery was banned in the United States. My ancestors did not own slaves, but guess what? I do have some ancestors who were owned as slaves back in the day. Does that make me, do I get reparations now? Can I act like a fucking victim all fucking day, collect welfare, live in Section 8, just impregnate women and not be with them, and then act like it's everyone else's fault? Blaming slavery hundreds of years ago. Can I do that now? People need to realize that if they don't allow men to be men, if they keep mocking and censoring men, if they keep erasing us from history, tearing down statues of men who built things and created societies and men from history, if they shut men out of being men in schools, if they take us out of jobs through DEI and out of their culture, saying that white people don't have a culture and white men don't have a culture, you are going to wake up the disaffected sons of the West. They are going to revolt, and they're not radicalized. These boys, they're red-pilled. They're not radicalized. They're just red-pilled by reality, by everything. We have people around us in our world telling us that we are the problem because we are young white men. Like, what the fuck is that? They're lifting, they're praying, they're reading, they're organizing, they're preparing for the future. These are what these men are doing. And right now, the media doesn't know that. The media is ignoring it. They're acting like white people, young white men specifically, are the problem in this nation. But every major revolution in history pretty much started when native-born men were ignored. We are the true Native Americans. I've talked about in other episodes. If you're born in America, you are a Native American, no matter what they want to tell you. But every revolution in history is started by native-born men being ignored. Not the 50-year-olds like we said earlier, but the disinfected, disenfranchised 16 to 25-year-old men. And generally, it's white Christian men who do this throughout history, who have lifted most of the revolutions, who have stood up against the tyranny and against the pushback. And when you think of revolution, you think a lot about government tyranny, you think about them taking free speech or trying to take our guns, but you don't think about the disaffected young men. But that's just as big. It is something that if they don't realize and they don't, manage for it, that it will be an uprising eventually. It will be a, colossal group of these individuals who get together and they say that they're not going to take it anymore and they try and take the country back. I want young men to be appreciated. I don't want young men to be replaced. I don't want them to be replaced by the femboys they're trying to turn them into. I don't want them to be replaced by girls. I don't want them to ruin what men are. Men built society. Every mode of transportation you see in this world was built by a man. Every major city and building you see was built by strong, working men. The men that you right now are telling are the problem in this country, the men that you are belittling, the men that the women in this country are telling have to be quiet, that they can't be leaders, that they're aggressive if they speak too much, that they're ADHD if they fidget too much. Every man is the full alphabet soup in these women's eyes, in these teachers' eyes, in these administrators' eyes. We need to do what we can to stop the corruption that feminism has allowed in our society. We need to realize that the corruption of feminism has now led to this massive uprising of young, disaffected white males in this country who feel like they have been screwed for years, who feel like I said earlier, they left college to not have any jobs because of DEI. They are looked at poorly, from women because they're not in the gym 7 days a week. They're not making seven figures at 21. They aren't, 6'9", whatever it is. The women have the most ridiculous standards, dating 1% of men. The system crushes these young men every chance they get. They sit them down for 6 hours at a time to do standardized testing. They don't let them roughhouse. If you roughhouse, you get suspended or detention. You get punished for it. You get ridiculed and punished for just being a boy. I remember I got suspended for 3 days in middle school because one of my friends pushed me down. I pushed him back. We were both on the wrestling team, and we wrestled it out on the turf like men. We had a group of people around us, like any middle school fight would go, but it was men being men. No one got hurt. No one had their feelings hurt. We became closer because of it. We actually, again, this was when I was in middle school, so I'm not that close with this person now, but we were, very close because of this, right after this. And that's what happens. Men are able to fight it out and put their differences aside. And I don't think men should be fighting all the time. It's not my point. It's just that let men be men. Let them get their energy out. Let them be leaders. Let them be loud and funny. Let them express who they are. Let them talk to women how they want to talk to women. I'm not saying let them be degenerates. Don't let them go be fuckboys. Again, raise these men better than that. I don't want that. We shouldn't be giving these women that shitty attention. They do not deserve. Women do not deserve the attention. You gotta stop. The feminists really have to stop pushing this woke agenda, and the government has to stop pushing this woke agenda if you don't want to keep waking these men up, because right now you've woken thousands, hundreds of thousands of these young men up. They're all around the country, and the numbers are only getting bigger. You're gonna have millions, and when you have millions, the movement is unstoppable. The disaffected sons of the West will win at that point. The disaffected sons of the West will have woken up, and they will have started to take back this country. And right now, the system, it's dying. And the disaffected, the big part they're missing, the big picture, their lack of planning has led to this, that the disaffected boys, the young men that you are, turning into women, the young men that you are telling are the problem, the young men that you're calling racist and misogynist and anti-Semites for calling out the truth, the young men who are not allowed to speak up in schools, punished for acting like boys, punished in the homes, over-feminized everywhere they go, and over-medicated every step of the way. These are the men now. These are the boys that are turning into men. The Gen Z folks are turning into men. The next generation in 20 years will be the men of this country. They will be the ones who are going to take it back. If you don't want that to happen, you guys need to stop, because you broke the world. To fix it, you guys have to now stop pushing this woke bullshit ass agenda onto men. Stop pushing feminism. Stop pushing that we're misogynist. Stop pushing the LGBTQ agenda in schools. Stop pushing all these things. It's not really about taking America back right now. It's about fixing it after it collapses, because it's collapsing. The regime is crumbling right in front of us. There's no trust in the media, no faith in elections. There's no moral authority in this country. The only man left standing will be the ones the system tried to break. The disaffected young men of the West who are waking up. Those are the new men of this country. The men who will, like I said, it's not really about taking America back, but the ones who will fix it after it collapses, the one who will rebuild it. The men who don't want inclusion, they don't want to be replaced, they want to keep their values, they want to be leaders, they don't want to change the institutions, and we're not really trying to fix America. Again, it's about outliving it. It's about bringing it back and outliving what America was supposed to be. It was never supposed to get to where it's at now. When I say we have to fix it, we have to bring it back to what it was. And then we have to outlive it. We have to let it stand time. That is what our Federalist Papers said. That is what our founding documents said. These things are meant to withstand time, tyranny, and all leadership. We should have had some stuff in there about feminists. We should have, guys. It would have been smarter. They didn't foresee it. They didn't foresee women becoming ultra bitches in this world. Women poisoning the minds of young girls and making men feel like shit and making boys feel like shit for just being who they are. Strong, self-sufficient, rooted men They are the future in this country. Not blue check marks, not bureaucrats, not the biggest people on YouTube or in the media, not Rupert Murdoch or Peter Thiel. Strong, sufficient, self-rooted young men who have faith in God will be the future of this nation. We need to make this known. We need to make it a talking point of the country that it's not the men's fault this is happening. It is the fault of the people who are pushing this on the men. The people who are trying to change what men are so they fit into a more feminized society are the people who are ruining it. We don't need to over-feminize society. We have done that too much to the point that society is broken. We don't do shit about crime. People cross the border willy-fucking-nilly. Everything is locked up in stores because people want to steal. The rise in single motherhood is through the fucking roof. Men want to impregnate women and not stay around, mainly in the black race, but through all races in this country. We have people on welfare. People are fat as fuck. People are killing themselves, especially young men, at unprecedented rates. Depression, anxiety, suicide, every fucking metric. Everything in this world is shittier. And they're blaming it on us. They're blaming us killing ourselves on us. They're blaming us throwing ourselves off buildings. They're blaming us being broke after we got divorced from the whore we married on us. This is the problem with this nation, and if you keep putting the blame on men for problems that feminism and women created, you're just going to create a lot of more disaffected young men who hate feminists, who are the incels in your eyes, who don't want to give any time or attention to any female who's not traditional, or traditional at least in some sense. A woman who hasn't fucked the entire town, a woman who's not showing her ass cheeks on fucking Instagram, wearing thongs to the beach, and acting like a delusional whore on Friday nights. Men don't want that. Men don't need that. It's destructive to your life, and women like that are the ones telling young men that they are the problem. No, you are the problem. This is my message to young men everywhere. This whole thing has been a message to young men, but my message to young men is you are not broken, you are not toxic, you are not dangerous in the way they're telling you, but you are dangerous in a good way. The only way you're dangerous in the way they're telling you is if you stay asleep. You are the future of this nation. You need to be dangerous. Like Jordan Peterson says, even though I don't agree with him on everything, become a monster and then learn to control it. Don't let them control your monster from the start. Become a monster and then learn to control it. You need that monster in you. You need that dog. It's what pushes you to start that $1 million business. It's what pushes you to say no to the girl who you've been simping over. It's what pushes you to be a man, pushes you to graduate, pushes you to go get that job or go ask that girl for her number or stand up to your father or mother. It pushes you for greatness. It pushes you to the next level of society. It pushes you to be the American that you were born to be the man that you were born to be. We are men. We need to aspire to be men. You are a man. Get down, do push-ups, go up, do pull-ups. Do what you can every day to show yourself that you're willing to do tasks that might not have seemed accomplishable a few days before. Do tasks that you don't like doing every day. Be stoic. Be dedicated to your craft. Be dedicated to your God and your religion. Be dedicated to yourself and everything that you stand for. Be dedicated to your values. Don't take a backward step. Don't fold under pressure. Don't let them tell you you're wrong when you're right. Don't let them tell you that you're the villain or you're the monster when you are the young, disaffected man in this country who your ancestors built this country. Your ancestors are this country. Your ancestors built America. Nick Fuentes said this, but he is America. We are America. The young, disaffected men of America are America. We are the people who are going to rebuild this nation. We are the ones who are going to save this nation. Our ancestors built this nation, and we will carry on their legacy for them. We will make them proud. We will show the feminists of today's age that we are not willing to fold to their slander to our names. We are not going to be called misogynists and racists and anti-Semites for expressing our views. We're not going to be told that we're lesser than or that we need to hide the way we behave or change the way we behave to fit into society. No. Go out today and let out your inner man. Be a man. Do what a man would do. Lead your home. Work in your job. Be dedicated to everything you do in life. And like I said, never ever take a backward step. Never show weakness. Never cry in front of your wife or your girlfriend. Don't cry in front of your kids. You show strength. You act like a man at all costs. That is your goal today. That is your goal tomorrow and every other day from here on out. Act like a man, do what needs to be done, and don't complain about it. Men need to be men again in this country, and the strong men in this country will wake up when they hear this. The strong men in this country will hear this, and it will ring something in them that they need to get up, stand up against the tyranny, stand up against the division, stand up against the hate that they're bringing towards these men, because in the end, when shit hits the fan, guess who they're going to call? They're going to call the men to come save them. Every fucking time. When a woman calls the cops because a man is hurting her, a man is raping her, someone just robbed her store or broke into her house or said something or looked at her kids all fucked up, who does she want to show up? A strong male police officer, a strong male figure who is going to solve the situation. Young men, strong men, you, me, all of us, we are the future of this nation. Act like it today. Act like it in school. Act like it in your workplace. Don't act like a dickhead. Don't act like a simp. Don't act like a meathead or a douchebag. Go out, act like a Christian man. Be good to yourself, good to the people around you. Be an honest man. Do not lie. Work hard in everything you do. Dedicate yourself to everything you do to the fullest extent. And never take a backward step. That is the worst thing you can ever do. Never take a backward step. I can't repeat that point enough. You are the cure. You are not the problem. This is not extremism. It is restoration. When we do that, we become what the system fears the most. We wake up. We get disciplined. We lead our homes. We find God, and we build something real. That is America. This has been one of the, it's not one of my best episodes, but it's been a passionate episode, an episode that I'm passionate about. I am a disaffected white man. I am one of the people in this country who's been screwed over by the government. I've been screwed over by Big Pharma. I've been screwed over by the schools. I had a liberal teacher give me an F on a 10-page final I wrote because it was about Colin Kaepernick and how he shouldn't kneel for the fucking anthem like a prick. I've dealt with this, but I stand up against it every day. I speak out against it on camera on this show. I speak out against it on X. I speak out against it in the big cities of New York. I spoke out against it in LA on Jubilee. I speak out against it throughout the state of Florida. We are America. We are the disaffected men of this country. We are the future. We are the cure, not the problem. No matter what they tell you, feminism is the problem. Modern day, third wave, shitty feminism is the problem. And we are the solution. We are America. We are the disaffected men of America who are going to fix and take this country back and bring America back to a place that everyone can outlive the beauty of it. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 103 of America Unfiltered today. I'm going to sign off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day, a blessed afternoon. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. Again, please remember to smash the like and follow button. Leave a comment if you have any questions. If you have any topics you want me to talk about on days where there's not a lot of news topics, leave a comment about it, and I will get to that episode soon. I like doing what I can to speak right to my guests, speak right to the people of America, especially the young men of this country, the future of this nation. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a blessed day, and good night.